Give me more of that stuff, and maybe we will be headed to the Natty. But, I mean, you can't be mad about where we are.
No.
Yeah, 5-1 with your only loss coming in overtime.
45, 40, 35, 40, he's gonna go! It's time people feel us!
Big Red Junkies.
Day by day, he gets better and better! He gets better and better! Team is If we die, we die!
Man, it's putting a child in that. Put him in the aisle.
Bring that trophy back to Lincoln!
Happy bye week, boys.
Yeah,
Happy bye
buddy.
week. And happy halfway through the season. I guess I don't know if that's happy.
Nope, I'm not happy about that.
Yeah, because it's like I never want the season to be over, but at the same time,
We're 5-1. We're pretty much guaranteed not halfway through the season.
I'm happy about that, but the fact that football season is halfway over, no, I don't even want to finish
it's not
that
halfway
sentence.
over, bro.
That's what I'm
he was
saying.
just getting to a good point.
That's what I'm saying.
I get it.
We are very likely not halfway through the season.
I will slam on this button right now. If you believe that Nebraska will be the third worst, according to the Pick Six guy, what's his name? Pick Six preview guy.
I don't listen to that
If you
side,
believe
but-
him, UCLA is the third worst team in Power 4 in the top 70. So if you believe that we are going to beat them, you think that we'll be bowl eligible, smash
absolutely.
that like button because
Especially
I
at home,
definitely
fuck
do.
off.
Yeah, they've been atrocious.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but they're not going to be the only other win that we have this season.
No,
either.
I agree with that too, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Oh, yeah.
The
Oh,
preview's
yeah.
coming up in a couple days,
sorry.
okay?
God,
We're not
just-
previewing right now. We're looking back.
Well, technically, it's
Oh, this is all about the past. This is
All right.
all about the past right now.
looking back.
Looking back, I bet you wish you could probably save some money. So, Matt,
Have you guys noticed that everything seems to be more expensive these days? Whether it's buying groceries, buying a new house, or maybe buying some awesome Husker tickets and going to the concession stand, everything has gone up in price. Well, we've partnered with Mint Mobile to find a solution that might free up some extra cash for you and maybe even upgrade your game day experience. I made the switch a few months back. It took about 15 minutes, and I gotta say, I haven't noticed a drop off at all from my old carrier. They have plans starting as low as $15 a month. Coach Rhule likes to say, correct the correctables. We'll start with your budget and make the switch to Mint Mobile. Visit trymintmobile.com/bigredjunkies to learn more and get one better today.
Do it.
we're looking back at the first 6 games of the season. It just so happens that our bye week fell, splitting them in half here, which is perfect for us because we wanted to give you guys some extra content. Check in on our preseason preview a little bit and see how those questions are coming along. But also just kind of re-ride this roller coaster of the first 6 games that honestly, we're sitting here at 5-1, and I think everyone would agree. Take out your personal feelings about in the moment stuff for those 6 games. Pretty fucking happy.
Pretty great.
I mean, other than, obviously you can nitpick at things, but this is pretty much where I thought we were going to be anyway.
Yeah.
Whether it was,
Did anyone think we were going to be 6-0 and headed to the Natty?
well, you kind of did. But.
I thought we were going to be 6-0, but if you thought for a second that I was dumb enough to think that we were going to be a perfect football team through 6 games,
Yeah.
I mean, we have not been. We've played some near perfect type moments like this defense in the Rutgers game.
Mhm.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Defense in the first half of the Colorado game. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Give me more of that stuff, and maybe we will be headed to the Natty. But, I mean, you can't be mad about where we are.
No.
Yeah, 5-1 with your only loss coming in overtime. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
One of the biggest points we made, and everyone made,
I'm sorry, but not only 5-1 with your only loss coming in overtime, you're coming into a season where you just finished last year with 31 turnovers, and we've got what, like 4?
we're +6 right now, I think.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about just turnovers in general.
Total? Yeah, I
Forget
think
plus
4.
or minus or whatever else. We have like 4 or 5 turnovers.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here. I'm very happy with what's going on right now.
Yes. And one of the biggest things that we talked about all offseason was we don't even need Dylan Raiola to be a superstar. We need Dylan Raiola to not be a net negative at the quarterback position.
Yeah, he's been some of both.
Yeah.
Well, no. He's been a superstar and also not a net negative. You know what
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
I
the
knew what
worst
you meant,
we've seen him play is the Rutgers game. And there was a lot that went into that. If you didn't catch our Rutgers recap, that went out yesterday. Go back and look at it. But, he has played above what almost anyone thought he was going to, except for maybe his own family.
Above what definitely more than most freshmen do in their first season.
Right now, when any of the national pundits are talking about freshman quarterbacks, they're lumping him in with Arch Manning, a redshirt freshman, a guy who's already sat behind, a Heisman Trophy candidate for basically 15, 16 games before he ever saw any game time. And then a couple, whoever the kid is at Pitt and that
Eli Holstein,
who's also a redshirt freshman, and then the redshirt freshman kid who I'm not even going to attempt his name at Tennessee.
Nico Iamaleava.
Sure.
Thanks, Jed.
I feel like you practiced that one.
I've said it a few times.
He said it better than Google did earlier when I asked it to pronounce it.
There you go.
But also the big thing is you're saying 3 guys that are redshirt freshmen who have a year of experience in college football, and Dylan does not.
He's doing okay.
They're
He's
also
doing
a year older than him.
Yeah.
And if you you've heard the stories and you know how Dylan grew up, but you can't sit here and tell me that Arch Manning didn't grow up even better than that.
Yeah.
3 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in the family. Yeah.
Well, and also, I went through the whole thing of the true freshman quarterbacks over the last 6, 7, 8 years and how well they did. And the average of those quarterbacks that had, I think it was 500 snaps. It was roughly 2,500 passing yards for the season. Currently, right now, Dylan is on pace to go past that.
Yes.
At about 2,600-ish.
And that's with a down game at Rutgers.
Yes.
If he had just stuck to his average for the previous 5 games, he'd be pacing to be over that 300 or 3,000 mark.
Yeah. I can't really, what am I supposed to complain about?
Nothing.
I know a lot of people have found things to complain about. And yet,
he's thrown 3 picks. One of them looked bad.
One
of them
bad
looked
one.
bad.
But also, are we trying to sit here and say that everything's perfect about this team right now? Absolutely not. Again, there are things that we can nitpick at and stuff like that, and there are glaring things that just kind of make you go, I don't know about
the special teams. Let's just say it.
That, but there are some also things. I mean, our running game is not consistent enough, but we also knew that. We pretty much knew that going into the season. That was one of our question marks as far as how well is this running game going to be. So
primarily because everybody's been touting, and it's talked about a lot across college football in general. The more experience you have on the offensive line, the more games under their belt, typically the better they are. We questioned early on in the offseason how much that was really going to be the case with these guys coming back for us, because you might have just had a guy starting for a long time that's not very good.
Well, also, how well is this offense going to transition to having a quarterback that doesn't run the ball?
Yeah.
That was a big question mark going into the season.
And honestly, maybe the focus was put more on the pass blocking side of things in the offseason that would allow them to give the freshman quarterback as much time as possible. Maybe that's part of why it's lacking so much. I don't know. It also has, you can't put it all on the offensive line when we don't look like we have a truly dynamic running back there.
No.
We don't have a guy who hits a hole with speed.
Nope.
We have a guy who hits a hole with strength, but he also hits the backside of our own offensive lineman more than he hits anything else.
Yep.
So, Matt, do you have anything to add on the offensive line side of things?
On the offensive line, the great pass blocking.
Yep.
Awful rush blocking. That's all I can say. And whatever we have to do, tape his mouth shut, cuff his hands, put him in a box for 6 days out of the week. Get Mazuka back on the field, please.
Yeah,
holy shit. He's the only good thing when it comes to
open letter
rushing.
to the coaches, please.
Yeah. Outside of that, I don't really have anything else.
I'll sign it. It's okay to get rid of Ed Foley midseason.
I'm not going there yet.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't do that.
I'm actually not in the camp of get rid of him. With the ability to hire so many different coaches now, just move him. You clearly need a different voice in that special teams room.
We'll figure that out in the offseason. I'm not worried about that right now, though.
You're gonna go through the whole second half,
but you're not gonna change anything right now.
You can change it.
No, you can't.
You can. You can hire a new coach to come in right now.
No, you cannot.
Why can't you?
Well, a couple things. You're not going to change the personnel on the field.
That's
go hire
And
Robert Saleh.
You're not going to change all of the mistakes and unavoidable things like Tristan Alvano being hurt.
Yeah,
there's that.
So, I mean,
do we know anything about that
stuff
right
like
now?
that? The coach is not taking care of that.
No.
So And no, I've not heard anything about Tristan Albano. From what I understand, his injury is it's just one of those week-to-week things. So,
Well, groin is a groin.
that's what I mean. They can nag for years if you let them. So I would rather him get healthy because also groin injuries are just fucking awful.
It's almost like the plantar fasciitis that Tommy Hill's dealing with.
I
It's just one of those things that it could feel better tomorrow, and then halfway through tomorrow, it'll be like, oh my God, this hurts like hell again.
You lace up your cleats and you play great until you don't.
Yep.
So there's going to be one of those things. We don't have a bad replacement for him. He's young, kicks the ball just fine. We've obviously got some things we need to work out on timing and on snaps because we have seen some bad snaps. But
We got to get the long snapper thing figured out.
when he's set, he's fine.
If there's one thing that I can say for sure Scott Frost had figured out over this staff, it was long snappers. But that's the only thing I think I can say for sure.
I don't think that's even
but
really
okay.
We had 4 years of a guy who was like elite.
Marcus Ortiz came from Florida. He was here for like a year and a half.
Also, Scott Frost
thought he
was
was a
way
Frost guy.
better
No.
than this staff at putting shit up his nose. So the
Well,
man
you're right
did
about
some
that.
things well.
You're right about that. Let's roll through these games real fast. Just what's the first thing that comes off up in your head when I say the UTEP game?
Dominant. But
Yeah.
we should have been because it was UTEP.
Yeah, they've looked really bad this year.
Yeah.
And they are really bad.
They looked a lot worse than I expected them to be.
Yeah, they've looked really bad this year.
Yeah.
Rolling on to Colorado. I mean, the
Who?
biggest shock to me.
Who?
Yeah, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say Colorado.
I know,
I'm also going to say Colorado from this perspective that we might have woke them up and they've looked a lot better since then.
Yeah,
They haven't played that many.
because they're not playing us.
Yeah, then they haven't really played anybody.
They're
to be
not-
I
honest.
think we would do the exact same thing to them this week if we played them again.
They're
I
playing
agree.
better because Big Brother has moved on.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
why they're playing better.
Unless you ask K-State, fuck you, K-State.
Yeah, absolutely. That dickbag down in Kansas State that said his comment, fuck off.
I really had nothing against K-State ever,
I didn't
except
either.
for
Like I said,
except for the Eric Crouch face mask.
Craig Oaks.
yeah, like I said, they're the platypus of college football.
Now,
Nobody really knows what they are. They're kind of good sometimes. They're kind of bad. They lay a lot of eggs. It's just
They like duck face selfies.
To be fair,
anything about them.
I still want Kansas State to beat those little sisters to the West.
Oh, they will.
But
and they will.
I'm just saying.
Just do it quietly.
Yeah.
They will.
Well, yeah, not only to just beat them and leave our name out your fucking mouth. Like,
As for our game against Colorado, dominant. We did great in that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah,
You know what? The fans did great in that game.
I think it was the first time that we saw just a glimpse of shakiness from our offense in the second half. And it carried over for me. That's what I would say about the Northern Iowa game, even though we won 34-3.
yeah. You know, that was kind of the start of everybody really nitpicking and pulling back a whole lot of things. And
We're supposed to be national champions. Come on, guys.
yeah, we can't tackle to save our lives. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. A couple weeks later, I think our defense is pretty fucking good. But yeah,
Let's question Tony White.
yeah. how's that still conversation going?
Matt, Northern Iowa.
Kick their ass. What do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Northern Iowa is a championship level SCS team. We beat the shit out of them.
That's a nicely put. On the Illinois game, I thought that was
Missed opportunity.
I was going to say good game.
It was a good game, but it was still a missed opportunity.
Yeah, outside perspective, it was a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
But we didn't do what we needed to where it mattered most.
Yeah.
And then we did do what we needed to where it mattered most the following two games.
Yeah.
So I think we learned a ton from the Illinois game.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. And the Illinois game last year was the result of a learning weekend where we had the Sunday practice after getting our dick stomped by Michigan. And then we took it out on Illinois.
Yep.
We did that at Purdue. It did take the whole first half of waking up, even though we had 200 yards on the ground. It was zeros at halftime.
Yeah, both teams scored in the first half, but it was 0-0 at halftime.
Putting up 21 points in the fourth quarter was the biggest thing to me in that Purdue game.
Yeah.
Exclamation point. It was
Yeah.
great.
That and the John Bullock interception. That's going to be one of my favorite interceptions that I can remember for a really fucking long time.
And just to say about Purdue, they're having some real issues, and I'm not exactly sure what, but they're going to have an entirely different coaching
Yeah,
staff after
they
this
might
season.
they might have quit.
Yeah.
They might have quit.
I feel like they have quit on their
Well,
coach.
they fired their offensive coordinator, and then they came out and did what they did against a not that good Wisconsin team. Yeah, I think they quit.
Gave up, what was it, 66 points or some shit
yeah,
like
a
that?
lot.
Something.
Over 60 twice in a season, that's bad.
Yeah.
And the Rutgers game, we just recapped it. If you didn't catch it, it came out yesterday.
A defensive performance.
Absolute defensive domination.
Mm-hmm.
And some weird wind. That's all we got on Rutgers.
Yeah. For me, the biggest takeaway that I have over the first half of the season is the defense is almost exactly what I expected it to be. The offense is slightly better. Special teams is way worse.
You know, it was interesting. I when I was first getting ready for this show, I was kind of looking to almost shit on our defense's rushing stoppage a little bit.
You can't.
The eye test to me, it looked worse than it was last year. And then I got into the numbers and it looked great. And apparently, and I didn't realize this until today, we are the only team in the country that is yet to allow a rushing touchdown.
For 2 weeks now.
It's insane.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
That was a stat heading into the Purdue game.
I don't like I said, I started looking at things today. So,
Isn't that wild though, especially when you look at the fact that we just played a game against the number one running back in the Big Ten from last year, and the guy who's leading the Big Ten so far this year, and he had six opportunities from the 2-yard line?
Yeah.
Totally
6
stopped
or
up?
7, whatever. Yeah.
You're telling me that that's not an elite defense?
that's
Get the fuck out of here.
you did good.
So I will say going into the season, I did say that I think that our defense is going to statistically take a step back,
Yeah.
but still be just as good as they were last year, just because I thought we were going to be playing better competition than we did last year. They're playing just as good as they did last year, and statistically, they are still just as good as they were last year. So, I mean, okay. My bad.
There's a few teams that are out there that are more dominant in all phases
Of course,
on defense, but I don't know that we can't sit here and say that Nebraska is not a top 10 defense.
No.
You would be hard pressed to find any offense that's going to really put numbers on us.
Well, I don't remember who sent it out the other day. There was like 43 teams in this certain defensive stat, and then 22 of those teams were in this defensive stat, and then like 14 of these teams were in another defensive stat. But there was only one team that was in all 3 of them, and it was us.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing okay.
We're doing okay.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing all right. And the side of it for me that really, really gets me excited is we have played some offenses so far in this first half, but we're going to get some real tests that also are against better defenses coming up soon.
Mhm.
Indiana, I don't know about what they're going to look like for us, but that Ohio State game for me, after seeing the way that the defense responded after the Illinois game, we gave up 31 points to Illinois in an overtime loss that felt at moments like, yes, this defense is not as good as it was last year. And all I've seen since then is just, hey, we learned everything we needed to learn in that game. And now the little holes that they like to poke in, letting, oh, hey, on 3rd and 8, we're going to go ahead and call a draw, a halfback draw or a counter where we're just going to let Umami Ellen and James Williams run right past our guys, and we're just going to shoot them right up there because guess what? There's nobody waiting, and we're going to, 10, 12-yard gashes, put up 100-plus yards in the second half. That was a major learning experience for us in what was a second year of a team seeing Tony White's defense and being able to say, okay, here's a spot we can exploit. I'm so glad we saw that in the Illinois game and not for the first time in the Ohio State game. Because you can't tell me that Ohio State wasn't going to see something like that.
No.
But you know what? Rutgers tried the same shit. And they were accomplishing it for about 10 minutes of the first quarter, and it went away. Tony White made the adjustments, and then you got to see James Williams, who was getting beat in those moments, absolutely go eat in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
So it's exciting. I'm excited about pretty much everything on the defensive side of the ball. And I just want to see that Dylan Raiola gets back on track after a down game against Rutgers.
Yeah.
Same.
You want to give us an update on the questions and we can get out of here?
We'll just kind of burn through them really quickly. I'm not going to give too many numbers necessarily, but So the first question preseason was, which running back will have the most carries? Emmett, Ramir, Gabe, Dowdell, or other? Us three all took Gabe Irvin.
Oh. There's going to have to be a lot changed for that to end up with us winning.
Elijah Herbal, who was on the show with us, he took Emmett Johnson. That's not a terrible pick right now. He still has a long way to go to catch up to Dante Dowdell, but, whatever.
As we mentioned in a different show, Dowdell has more than double of anybody else.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like, that was a tough question.
And they seem to really just like setting him in there as a battering ram.
Yeah. Nebraska scoring defense ranking was 20.5. Currently, they're at number 7, who is looking pretty good. But again, our schedule is ramping up tremendously, especially with some offenses. So we'll see how that goes. I was the only one to say no on that one, so we'll see. Sacks by Nebraska's defense, 39.5. That was one of the conversation pieces going into the season when Matt Rhule wanted 40 sacks, 20 turnovers for the defense. We are halfway there. So we'll see. Again, the schedule picks up a little bit, but we'll see if we can get to that 40 mark. Nebraska turnovers lost, 19.5. We only have the 4. So I feel pretty good.
God, yes.
Let me knock on wood or whatever. Like,
That's really
And
back there.
we've played some elite defenses.
Yeah.
We can say that.
Yeah. We're looking pretty good on that one. Field goals made of 40-plus yards. Does it really matter what this number is?
Nope.
It just matters who took
What
the over.
was the number? Because I'm curious.
6.5.
It just matters who took the over.
Yeah, we'd
I
have
actually
to
did
have.
take the over on that one. You guys all took the under, but I actually took the over. Oh, boy, that was bad.
And my reasoning for taking the under, if I recall, was that I thought we were going to go for it because Dylan Raiola was going to be special.
Well, we're going for it.
I was right about Dylan Raiola being special and us going for it, but it has nothing to do
Yeah,
with those.
those are not the same thing. Yeah. Will we have a kickoff return for a touchdown, whether it's punt or kickoffs? I don't know that I could say that we've been terrible at returns, but we're not doing very good.
We're averaging
Like,
positive yards.
Yeah.
Like that's we haven't done that. That was a joke on
Because
this
we're-
show for
we're-
3 fucking years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not waving off punts, which is a big
Yeah.
yeah.
I actually think that Isaiah Garcia Castaneda has done a great job back there fielding punts. He's averaging like 6.5 or 7 yards a carry or a punt return right now. That's you can't ask for much more than that after at least to show improvement.
How many players will be over 500 receiving yards? I had the number at 2.5. We have 2 guys that are over 250 right now, so they are on pace for over 500. I don't know that they're consistent enough. We'll see, but it's going to be rough to get a third guy over over 500.
We might
yards.
see Ja'Cory Barney get up there as his
Maybe.
numbers go up.
And I mean, if they throw the ball to Jalen Lloyd more, considering he's averaging 30 yards a catch, maybe.
Yeah.
How many guys will have double-digit tackles for loss? I had it at 1.5. We have one guy at 6 with Ty Robinson, and another guy, John Bullock, is at 5. So they are at least halfway there. So we'll see how that continues to go. Total yards by Nebraska's offense. I put it at 5,000. That was kind of another one of those talking points as far as can we get to 5,000 total yards. We are behind on the pace for that one. We're at almost 2,300 yards. And considering the defenses that we still also have coming up, that's going to be a tough ask to do to get over that 5,000 yard mark. And the other one was more of a college football question, was how many CFP teams will be from the SEC and Big Ten combined? 6 or less, 7 or 8 plus. It's looking like the SEC might get a lot, so we'll see.
Yeah, as of right now, the SEC looks like they're getting 7 in.
Well, they won't get that many, but
No, I know.
I get your point, yeah.
Awesome. Anything else to add, Matt?
Oh, I'm sorry. There was one more question that got buried here. Does Nebraska have a first-team all-conference player? Do you think we have one right now?
I think we might have a couple.
I don't.
You think John Bullock would be in there?
I'm going to guess there's a guy out of Ohio State that's probably going to take that spot from him and
Well, there's gonna
potentially.
be a couple of guys at that position. So
Yeah.
but no, I really don't think we have one right now.
Yeah.
John Bullock is playing great, but I don't know that he's playing all-conference level great.
We see 6 more straight games of Zaire Wright keeping this level up, and that might be something that happens.
Yeah.
Because as of right now, he's PFF graded out highest or like top 3 at corner the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Like for the week in the Big Ten. I mean, so if he keeps this up for the latter half of the schedule, that absolutely could be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
He would be the one, or if Tommy Hill comes back and is fully healthy for the rest of the season, he would be one that I could see.
Too many games. He's not going to get back up to first team. He could get
Well,
on the list.
Zaire Wright's basically played the same amount that he has this season.
Well, that's why I don't think Zaire Wright's not going to get up there either. But
well, that's certainly possible. Certainly possible. I don't think any of our offensive linemen have played well enough, and I don't know that Ty or Nash have been disruptive enough.
I mean,
like eye-popping stats. I don't know if they have.
I mean, unless Ty goes off on some of these, the big-time games like the USC or Ohio State game.
If he has a monster game against Ohio State and that's a close game because of what the defense does, I could see that.
Like he's got 4 sacks right now. If he can get to 10, maybe. But I don't know if it'll get to 10. So.
There's also some superstar studs at Michigan and Penn State and Ohio State.
Yeah.
Iowa. Like there's It's tough sledding to try and get a first teamer in the Big Ten right now. Outside of that, we've got a superlative show coming out. We do have some very exciting news that we will be having pop sometime here in the next week. So look out for that stuff, and we appreciate you guys.
And this may be the most unbelievable night in Cornhusker football history.